All right, so let's start this broadcast with the latest in terms of what is happening in Ukraine at this point of time, where the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has, of course, said that Russia is trying to capture Kyiv before the break of dawn. He's also said that it is important for the people in Kyiv to withstand the Russian onslaught through the night. Because remember, this of course, is the third straight night of Russian assault on Ukraine. And this, of course, is the latest in terms of what is happening in the country. And also the Ukrainian authorities claim that they've managed to repulse a Russian attack in the main Kyiv Avenue. This is what President Volodymyr Zelensky had to say earlier.
Ця ніч буде більш тяжкою, ніж день. Під ударом багато міст нашої держави. Чернігів, Суми, Харків, наші хлопці, наші дівчата на Донбасі, міста півдня України, особлива увага Києву. Не можна втратити столицю. Звертаюсь до наших захисників і захисниць на усіх фронтах. Цієї ночі ворог застосує усі наявні у них сили, щоб зламати наш опір. Підло, жорстко і не по-людськи. Цієї ночі вони підуть на штурм. Всі ми маємо розуміти, що нас чекає. Цієї ночі маємо вистояти.
Now, there are reports of artillery rounds and intense gunfire that has been reported from the western part of Kyiv. Currently, the Ukrainian troops reportedly are defending their positions on all four fronts of the city, despite being heavily outgunned and outnumbered and outranged by the Russian troops. Now, Kyiv right now is divided between two sets of people, one who've packed their bags and are leaving towards the west in fear. Most of them are women, children and the elderly, and many, however, have also taken up arms to defend their city against the Russian onslaught. And also, according to reports that have come in, at least about 18,000 guns with ammunition have been distributed to the reservists in the Kyiv region alone. People in Kyiv have been told to make Molotov cocktails in preparation of the Russian onslaught. The country has also banned all male citizens in the age group of 18 to 60 years from leaving the country. Late night, President Volodymyr Zelensky, along with other top government officials, were out on the streets and they vowed to defend Ukraine's independence. Listen in.
Всім добрий вечір. Лідер фракції тут, голова Офісу президента тут, прем'єр-міністр Шмигаль тут, Подоляк тут, президент тут. Всі ми тут, наші військові тут, громадяни суспільства тут, всі ми тут. Захищаємо нашу незалежність, нашу державу. І так буде й далі. Слава нашим захисникам, слава нашим захисницям. Слава Україні!
The Russian invasion has robbed all forms of normalcy in Kyiv. The once prized vibrant European capital has been left in chilling silence. And the eerie silence has been broken only with random sirens and thundering clamour. Now, after several weeks of warnings from the West, the Russian President Vladimir Putin, remember, after having denied that he had any intention of launching an invasion into Ukraine, has unleashed a three-pronged invasion of the country. The north, east and the south have come under heavy attacks by ground, air and also from the sea. The invasion has threatened to upend Europe's post-Cold War order. All right, now to give us more insights in terms of how this conflict is likely to play out in the next few hours and days, we are joined in by Mr. Lester Munson, who is a senior fellow from the National Security Institute. He's joining us live from Washington, D.C. Mr. Munson, thank you very much indeed for joining us on this broadcast on WION. So this is what we've been witnessing through the night, where according to reports that have come in, that there's been a lot of missile strikes and a lot of action in terms on the outskirts of Kyiv that's been reported. What do you expect is likely to happen now, and how long will it be before Kyiv falls?
Well, I think at first, as you've been pointing out, we have to acknowledge the incredible courage and resiliency of President Zelensky and the Ukrainian people thus far. It's only been 3 days, but they've shown incredible bravery and resolve in the face of, frankly, overwhelming odds. And the fight of the Ukrainian people should not be underestimated. Having said that, at the end of the day, Russia has many more military resources than Ukraine does. So I suspect this is not going to ultimately go well for Ukraine. However, it's notable that for the last 3 days, this invasion has clearly not gone exactly as the Russians, as Vladimir Putin had intended. And I suspect that the Ukrainians, along with the folks who are helping them from the West, either through material support or intelligence or other kinds of information that will be useful, have undermined the ability of the Russians to do exactly what they want in Ukraine. And let us hope, those of us who support Ukraine, hope that is able to continue for as long as possible.
And also, at this point of time, the West has been speaking a lot about trying to isolate Russia and also helping out Ukraine. Do you expect more help from the United States and indeed from the nations in Western Europe in terms of material support for the people in Ukraine to put up a fight?
I expect that there will be more material support, weapons, and that kind of thing for the Ukrainian resistance. This is not going to be over anytime soon. It will take, this war will take many forms. This is the most military on military aspect of the war. Soon this will become an insurgency by the Ukrainians and a counterinsurgency effort by Russia. And I expect there will be a lot of assistance from the West through all of these phases of the conflict as it develops.
And also, we saw what's happened in the vote at the United Nations Security Council. 3 nations have chosen to abstain from voting: China, India, and the United Arab Emirates. And Russia, of course, has vetoed it. The West is trying to diplomatically isolate Russia. Do you think, considering the friends that Russia seems to have, is that even possible?
Well, it's not going to be completely possible. Russia won't be totally isolated. It is very significant, the countries that abstained, particularly China, which has a veto, also has veto, of course, in the United Nations Security Council. So I think Putin expected that he would get support on the veto from China. He did not. That is significant. However, let's be clear. In other areas, China has been rather supportive of the Russian position. I think the moves in the West, United States, other NATO allies, other Western countries, the effort to isolate Putin economically and isolate Russia economically will continue. These sanctions will increase. There is a decent chance that Russia will be removed from the SWIFT system, which will severely impair the ability of anyone to do business in Russia.
And also, my last question to you, Mr. Munson, is considering the manner in which Vladimir Putin seems to have virtually had his way in this conflict in Ukraine, will this now create a template for what other nations, for instance, what China would want to do in Taiwan?
Well, I think there's no doubt that China is watching to see how this situation plays out. I don't think China will make the same moves Russia has made. China is more interested in global stability than Russia is. However, we cannot deny that the situations between Russia and Ukraine and China and Taiwan are in fact very similar. So China will for sure be watching how the rest of the world reacts to what Russia has done.
All right. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Munson, for joining us and getting us all those insights in this developing story. And this, of course, is a story that we will continue to track on WION. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.